You've been hearing about new lockdowns in Europe, and we thought we would check in with Giulia Pagliari, who is a tour guide in the beautiful city of Rome with Live Italy Tours. And Giulia, you are, I believe I see one of the most iconic views in all of Rome
Yes,
right behind you. Tell us where you are, and maybe you can show us around.
yes, of course. I am in front of the glorious Spanish steps, and you can see, of course, the steps behind me and the beautiful square right in the middle of the city center of Rome. This like poor Rome and pretty silent city, completely different from the one you experienced the last time we came, but
Yes,
still
that's
very beautiful. Yeah.
Yes, it is still beautiful, but yeah, that was a couple of years ago that I was in Rome and you kind of walked me through the city. I'm wondering, of course, people see the pictures of those Spanish steps behind you, and they're always crowded with tourists. But of course,
Yeah.
I suppose those would mostly be summertime pictures. What we see today in November, how does that compare to how things would normally be in a normal November, non-pandemic?
Actually, yes, like the end of November is the beginning of what we call the low season. So it's really not the spect, but honestly, of course, you would have seen more people than now for sure. We always have people coming, of course, except for those days, you know. We had these summer truce in between these two lockdowns, and we had people coming since they reopened international flights. But of course, nothing compared with the amount of people we commonly have. And what is very sad about, especially the city center of Rome, is that it really emerged how much economy is based on tourism here. And so many restaurants and shops, they never reopened since March.
Yeah.
Still, of course, it was like a kind of resurrection for a while. So imagine, for example, what I commonly do in this like last month, you know, so like,
Mhm.
yeah, June, July, August. I commonly work 7 days a week. And the Live Italy Tours, that is the company I work for, commonly sells 50 tours a day, and that provides a job to 100 tour guides who work 7 days a week. And in these like last weeks, we did work once a month each.
Mm.
So
Wow.
let's make this comparison and you will get the situation. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I
So
thought I thought maybe you could show us around a little
yes.
bit there, because once you leave the Spanish Steps, it's quite a shopping area. And as you show us
True.
around, you could also maybe tell us what are the new rules and the sort of semi-lockdown, I guess you could say,
Yeah.
that are in effect in Rome.
Okay, first of all, I'm taking Via dei Condotti. That is one of the most beautiful shopping districts of Rome, the one with the fancy brands. And then I will take side roads. So you will now see behind me, okay, like all the big shops. As you see, we don't have so many people walking outdoors now, especially because of these new decisions that came out just last week on October 25. That was to, you know, ask to the restaurants to close at 6 p.m. That means, of course, there's not that much to do after, you know, that time. So actually, a new decree has been signed just yesterday evening. So these are the new decisions of the Prime Minister. They opted for what they called, as you said, a soft lockdown. That means they kind of divided Italy into three risk level areas. And so some measures work for the whole country, and instead others work only for specific regions. Rome is in what they call the low level risk area.
Yeah, I think
So
I
it
saw
means,
that it was like a color coded. You had red,
correct.
which is the worst hit,
Hmm.
orange, and then
It's
yellow.
like
And you're in the
medium. Yeah,
yellow. You're in the yellow range, so that's
yeah,
better than the others. How does that? How does
absolutely.
yellow and its rules compare with maybe the harder hit areas that are red?
But like for us, it means that we will have a kind of like, yeah, semi lockdown. That means yeah, restaurants have to close at 6 p.m. They will close big shopping malls and big markets on weekends. Of course, this is something that was decided already last week. So cinemas and theaters have to stay closed, and now they added also museums and exhibitions. So basically, like, social life is over. But it's not that bad as you said, the red zone, and that means most of all the northern regions of Italy, because they will go through since tomorrow a lockdown that is very close to the one we did on March. Big difference is that schools, they will stay open, and also factories, they will continue to produce and work, but all the shops, the bars, the restaurants, they will stay closed the whole time. So as it was in March, April, and May, people can leave home only with like a kind of certification, and for work and emergency reasons. That's it. So
Okay.
I feel lucky because, of course, I can still go out, comparing with, of course, what will happen in other places. But still, I have to tell you that, of course, we have the feeling, we are back to March somehow. And that is, of course, very strange considering the sacrifice we did for like 3 months,
Yeah.
like, yeah,
Well,
before summer.
when you get to a spot where maybe there's a cross street or something,
Mm-hmm.
I'll have you slow down. I feel like you're walking
Yeah.
right across the city, give you a little bit of a break. But I do want to ask, what is the sense in Rome? Because you're the biggest city, and yet
Mm-hmm.
you managed to be at the lowest level of the warnings. So what is the sense as to why things are working reasonably well in Rome, and what's wrong up in the northern region where they keep being hit the hardest?
That is something that is very difficult to tell, honestly. Problem was, of course, that, for example, virus was kind of not existing at all in the south of Italy. And now they included in the red zone also like part of the south. And that is maybe the consequence of what happened in summer, when, of course, they reopened everything, and people from the north went to the south, because you have to know that like many people from Calabria, Sicily, they work, like in Milan and Turin. So because of this like big movement that we did during the summer. So that is basically what happened. And of course, now that we are back to these new restrictions, Italians are like long way away from singing from the balconies and claiming for a kind of national sacrifice, to help each other, because we are very frustrated and worried. And of course, it's most of all because of the economic situation. We are worried that we will never, resurrect from this
Yeah.
period. That's the point. So,
Well, I hear somebody playing some music there, and
yeah.
you mentioned it. I remember, I think it was Piazza Navona in a different part of
Mm-hmm.
Rome, where a young man became pretty famous and viral around the world because he took his electric guitar and played for crowds out there. You got to love the Italian spirit when it comes to music, that's for sure. But so, Julia, let me just ask you, overall, what, if you could put your finger on kind of in general how people's attitude is this time around regarding the lockdown? Is it different at all regarding the first time around? Are people more, are they going to be willing in large part to follow it? Do you get a sense that more people are fed up about it? Kind of what's your sense?
Um, Actually, I feel that people have lost trust in the decisions of the government in general. But I think that at the end, we will respect the rules just actually because of the numbers that now they're like even higher than the daily cases in March and April. So we will adapt, of course, to this new situation as we did last time. Big difference is that people seriously, they don't really trust anymore all these rules, especially because few categories have been penalized more than others. And this is about small businesses and, like people who run small activities in general. And this is all about the protests and riots, you for sure heard about that exploded first in Naples, then like Florence and Rome and Milan and Turin. There's also like another big issue in Italy that is the like shadow economy. So like the undeclared workers who are not eligible for the financial help that the government promised, within the last decisions. So we have been kind of left, like abandoned, I would say, for months. And now the government is back with these like new decisions that sound exactly the same ones they took a long time like before. So I feel many people more skeptical than before, for sure. That is the general.
Before we let you go, I thought maybe you could show us around one more time.
Yeah.
Kind of, as you've been walking
I
around the
took you.
city, you started at Spanish Steps. Where are you now, and what's it look like?
This is actually a very small square, Piazza San Lorenzo Lucina. I took you here because this is my like gelato place, the one I like the most in Rome, Ciampini. And commonly here, you see a lot of tourists, especially from the States, enjoying the outdoors of Rome. I see someone outside. They will close, in a while, as I told you. But again, of course, you should see like before and after pictures to trust me. But I have to tell you that it's like much less people than commonly than in common, like normal times, let's say like this.
And as we're taping this, Rome time, it's coming up on 5 p.m. And so the restaurants where you see people now, they're going to be closing down by 6 o'clock, which is not a very normal experience for the city of Rome with all of its great restaurants. Do I have that right?
Yes, absolutely. You know how it works here, that we commonly eat very late, that is about 9 p.m. We stay outside, till like midnight at least. So it's about, of course, like culture and traditions. Now I'm taking a very small side road that takes us to the Pantheon. So if you wait for a while, I will show you that other magnificent monument of Rome.
Okay.
Just takes a few minutes. So
yeah,
let's talk and then I will show you the monument.
And what are they saying as you take us to this other location in Rome? What are they saying in terms of how long it will last this time, these new lockdowns?
Actually, they said it will last till December the 3rd. That is again something that is difficult to trust, because last time they postponed the end of lockdown almost like every 2 weeks. So knows the story, like propaganda, let's say, says that we are doing this other sacrifice to save Christmas. So that's the goal for us, because of course it's part of our traditions to be with the family, like as it is now, of course, in all over the world. So we see if these new decisions will help or not.
And what are the family restrictions or the restrictions on people gathering? Of course, over here in the States, we're getting ready for Thanksgiving. It's probably the one time of year that you expect the most family, either that or Christmas, to get together. What are the restrictions on those kind of private gatherings?
That is actually very strange, because you are not supposed to be like with more than 5 people in your place. But you know that in Italy, especially in the south, we have very big families, few times composed by 20 people, 25 people. So that is, of course, something difficult to control. But actually, all the decisions they took are for avoiding, people, of course, gathering together. So no friends, only family members in the same like house and things like that. So
Okay. Do you want to,
it's like not social life.
right. Do you want to flip the camera around one more time and then
Yeah.
show us? You said you're kind of coming up on another famous
Yes.
view of Rome.
This is
Tell
a
us
very
where you
small.
are. Yeah.
This is actually Via di Campomarzio. It's a very small side road that connects the Parliament to the Pantheon, and is famous because of its very nice boutiques. So this is commonly full of people again, and you see how different the situation it is. As I told you before, the city center is suffering more than other places, especially now that the government is calling again for smart working, so it's like suggesting the offices to promote smart working. And this is a place of offices, and if people, they don't come to work, also like the small bars and restaurants, they don't, of course, get clients. That's also the reason of the protests that you heard about, so
Yes.
it's of course all connected, how it is. Like only few people like me, for example, I tried to survive, in those months, launching a new cultural project. It's called Art Survival Kit. But you can find it on Instagram if you want, and it offers contents about archaeology, art, but it's just a way of survival. So only people who have been able to reinvent themselves, they are kind of like living. See, like that this is also like a very famous gelato place, and there's no one, buying a gelato now, and
So
that
do
is
I have
very
right? You're
strange.
saying that you're kind of doing virtual tours on
Yes.
Instagram?
Yes, actually, experiences of kind of like every kind, an online tour about Egypt. It's a big project called Once Upon a Time in Egypt. It's like ways to survive, in in this period. And it was also like going well to offer tours to the locals. Of course, now that they came to this new decision to close also museums and exhibitions, I really don't know what will be the reaction of the people, if they will be scared, to go out. So we are waiting to understand how people people they will react, because I'm sure that from a specific, viewpoint, the people, they don't want to be locked down anymore. But same times they fear, to, of course, be with too many people, like in groups. That's what I'm saying. So it's a very strange time, I have to tell you.
And so where do we find that on Instagram?
On Instagram, you find actually contents of archaeology and art, and everything I propose. So like virtual reality experiences. It's of course most of all about the city, about Rome.
Yes.
So like tours and small lessons and webinars. And as I told you, a new online project about ancient Egypt, and also Egypt in Rome. So many things.
And that's at Live, Liv, Italy on Instagram.
That is my personal project. It's called Art Survival Kit.
Okay, so how do we find you there?
Art Survival Kit. It's
Art
like survival kit.
And what's that?
I basically offers kits to survive with art in this period. That's the reason of the name.
Okay, so one more time.
Yeah.
It's art, survival, and what's the last word?
Kit, like package, kit.
Pizza?
No, kit. It's like a package, a box. It's like art survival kit.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
I will
look
actually.
All right,
Yes.
Look at this now. Wow, there is, that's what, an almost 2,000-year-old building you're walking us up to, right?
Right. You remember it well. Yeah, exactly. This is an ancient pagan temple that still perfectly stands in Rome, built in 2725 BC. So, and this is Egypt in Rome, an obelisk. Something I will talk about in this online project.
Okay.
Yes, exactly.
And it's famous for its hole in the middle of the dome, the famous oculus. Right.
Correct. Yes, and so, for example, that is something that we hope for, that they will leave the churches open, for visiting, because they closed, as I told you, the museums. So hopefully something will remain open. Yeah. So it's actually a very strange time. We had this feeling that everything was back to normal for a while. And then, COVID is back, and the spike of contagions is high again. So it's like we are facing a new critical phase.
Well, we all can't wait for life to return to normal. And, Rome it's the eternal city, and there's so much history there. It is incredible. I've only been once, but, I spent a few days and I felt like I could spend a month there and still have so much to learn. It is an incredible place. And we're sure hoping that life gets back to normal in 2021 for you and the people of Rome and for all of us over here.
Thank you. for all of us. Yes, for sure.
Julia, thanks for your time.
Yeah, it was a pleasure. I'd like also to say something about, I don't want to steal your time. It's just to tell you that actually we have been kept waiting, for new decisions for so long, almost like 1 week. It was a kind of countdown to this new decree. Mm-hmm. That is also what made people really mad, that it was impossible to make plans, for of course, this changing of direction that we are experiencing. So every week we have a new announcement. And of course, puts people in crisis, also because few times it sounds that those decisions that kind of in contrast each other. And so that's why it's different from before. A new musician.
Yeah. There he is playing his trumpet.
Okay, so I hope actually I made everything clear.
Well, again, we really appreciate your time. I didn't think you were going to give us that much of a slice of the city, but you gave us a good view, that's for sure. Julia?
We did actually 2 kilometers together. Ciao. Thank you so much. Ciao. Ciao. See you soon.
Okay.
Ciao.
And there we go. Here on News Now, you don't need a passport to take you around the world. We'll do that for you right here. Thanks to Ron Hoon for giving us that in-depth interview and just seeing how things are going in Italy. And we're hoping for the very best for everybody out in Italy and, of course, right here in America as well. Italy seeing 1.1 million cases confirmed COVID-19 right now. They started their surge, it looks like, the second wave around the middle of October, and it keeps climbing each day, and especially the way that we're seeing it here in America as well. So here's what we have right now coming up for you in News Now from Italy. Now let's go to Washington, D.C. This is a